Again, the history of these teams, Cloud9 has knocked out Sentinels in the upper bracket in both of the previous two majors. Let's see if they can do it now in the lower bracket here on the blue side. Right off the bat, they're taking away Beginnings Lulu. I think that they saw the last series.
Good. Of course, they need to get rid of this. They want to make sure that mid lane is not going to be something of contention. Michael Udall and Meals, they have a lot of overlap in the mid lane, but I think Meals always has his something, kind of a trick up their sleeve, whether it is the Aurelion Soul or something else. I'm looking forward to see what Cloud9 do to answer Sentinels mid lane. And as we get further into the bans, I think an important note is going to have to be this bot lane. Like we see already, getting rid of the Ashe for Rest, which he looks so good on. And we haven't got to touch on it just because we've been focusing on some of the other laners, but I think Rest has had such an interesting development, not only as a former support player from other mobile esports, but then also now coming into the role with basically under 3 months of preparation, and only now has really stepped up to the plate when it comes to being one of the best in the bot lane here in North America.
Makes sense to take away a lot of these more defensive AD carries and like that Ashe. There's also the Lulu and the Senna bans. The Beginnings likes to play those champions as well. No Orianna ban, though. Michael Udall did play that in both of the previous games, the champion he is known for. So oftentimes I kind of like pause when I see it's not banned against him because I'm like, come on, I feel like that's just a free ban. But they're opting to leave that up. Maybe they first pick it. Nami's banned by Sentinels, but it's actually the Olaf locked in for Tarzan.
I like this. This is a great thing to not only take away from Sheesh, but empower Tarzan, who has been a fantastic early game engine for them. And I was wondering, just like you were, what was going to happen with Orianna? Were Cloud9 going to take it? But it seems like Sentinels, they get a very strong pairing for themselves in the Camille and Orianna.
They go for that combo. Orianna likes ball delivery systems, and Camille very strong at that, especially with the jungle mid combo right there. But there's also J4 locked in, but on the side of Cloud9, they go with the brand. So one of the newer champions introduced to Wild Rift. It's going to be fun to see that here in the Majors weekend with that Kai'Sa pairing.
Oh, all right. So Sentinels, they are showing their hand a little bit. Now, I know Kangas, this might be a little confusing. You see Jarvan, you see Camille, and last time we saw Camille was very much a jungler, but from the side of Sentinels, we're even getting an Akshan. MTS was actually playing Jarvan top lane, so I still think Camille is going to be in the hands of Sheesh, and definitely a flexible jungler who we've seen a lot of success here for them. But okay, unless we see a swap here, Kangas, this is going to be Sheesh's hand on the King of Demacia.
It looks like it. Interesting matchups here. J4 in the jungle, and we have Michael Udall piloting the Akshan with the Orianna going into the Dragon Lane with Galio. We haven't touched all on Cloud9's composition, though. Jackie actually on the Janna off of that Thresh pick. We were talking about the ability to, make those picks, make those plays yourself as a support. Janna not necessarily known for doing that, so stylistically different for Jackie, but very different approach to pick and ban for each of these teams compared to what we saw earlier in the day.
I love this answer, by the way, from Cloud9. The Janna, we're already talking about it, is so good when you look at all of these champions from Sentinels. They want to go in. You have the Galio, the Jarvan, and Camille, a deadly 3-player combo. And Janna, I think, kind of just keeps on with that idea of buffing up Tarzan, allowing Griff to also be aggressive when necessary. And it is obviously something in the support role that going to need to keep their eyes out if you're looking at Sentinels. Rest was playing Orianna bot lane yesterday, but when you're playing up against not only Kai'Sa and the Janna, you give up a lot of lane priority just for later game team fighting.
But you look at that team fight, you realize it's pretty threatening. The J4 engage with the Camille. Both of them have very strong combos with the Galio and the Orianna. So the Wombo combo from Sentinels going to be felt once we group up for these fights. But right now it's still laning phase. Junglers passing past each other in the mid lane, just trying to help each of their mid laners get that shove, get that push here, as the Scuttles will be spawning shortly. And if we're looking at these compositions critically, who are we favoring in the early game? Because the Wombo from Sentinels is scary, but does that mean that Cloud9 can't contest them for early objectives?
I think Cloud9 have a really good early game composition. You have Renekton here, who obviously does do a little bit of scaling like we've seen over in the SCA play-ins, but has just been such a strong champion in and out of the laning phase. And when you look at bot lane, they're always going to have priority in the Dragon Lane. We see right here that as soon as they have move out of mid, Brand and Olaf can take control of this other side of the quadrant in jungle. And it makes it much more difficult for Sentinels, but the longer we go on, Sentinels get scarier and scarier to play against.
And we see both junglers handshaking there. I like it because Cloud9 have the priority to play through, but I also like the realization from Sheesh to say, okay, well, I know Olaf's in my bottom jungle, so I'll just go into his top jungle and take away blue buff for myself. Zello gets away there. Not going to get dove under a turret. But very smart cerebral jungling coming in here from Sheesh, identifying where you're strong, where you're weak, and where you can make plays like this. Speaking of plays, Michael Udall trying to get around that wall right now. They even have their support up here. Zello is in some trouble right now. The CC is being layered, but he flashes out. Jockey is here. Tarzan's here. This could go poorly for Sentinels. 3-champ taunt, but Ragnarok bot by Tarzan. Gonna chase down for first blood. It is traded back here. Sheesh gets one in response, but Meals is joined in now. Jockey just buying time, but Sheesh jumps over the wall. Dogpiling onto Meals. Level 5 is hit, though, so Brand does have the ultimate. Sheesh and Beginnings retreating to safety. They will get out 1-for-1 trade at the end of the play.
Cataclysm, and it may not be over as right now Griff is heading over to the mid lane, maybe trying to protect this.
Tarzan. He doesn't have the Ragnarok, doesn't have the flash, in a lot of trouble here. Might have enough damage. Jockey's behind, providing those shields, providing the boost. And now Griff's joined in too. Kaisa under turret gets the kill, but the flag and drag will knock her up. Michael Udall gets one finally onto Jockey. Tarzan's still alive, he's down. And another kill to Tarzan, who survives through the entire play. 3 for 3 at the end of this one.
That is the longest replay. Good luck to production trying to play that one out, because it's literally a full minute. We dive top lane, and it just completely spills out onto the rest of the map. I was getting scared there for Sentinels, but they are getting scrappy, and something that we had commented a little bit earlier throughout all of the circuits is Sentinels, their early game before was non-existent. Pre 5 to 10 minutes, they didn't really put up much of a fight, and now here in the third major, they have completely improved in almost every aspect of their gameplay. And speaking about momentum, they are riding that high into potentially moving up into grand finals, but they need to beat C9, who is still looking dominant, and we're going to see a trade here. Early Drakes in trade for a Herald for Sentinels.
Tarzan's going for that dragon. Sentinels commit multiple members onto that Herald play. So, yep, trade of objectives. But I want to take some time to think about who benefited from all the scrappy early game. 3 kills to each side, but Tarzan with 2 kills on the Olaf. That is a scary champion to get rolling early in the game.
Exactly. And when you look at their team composition, we talked about it already, but having the Janna with you is so important. All of these kills does put a lot of burden onto Tarzan too.
He's got the Ragnarok again, gonna go right onto Beginnings. Flash over the wall from Galio. Undertow follows up. Tarzan actually did not have flash to follow up right there, so Sentinels get to safety, but you can see just what this Fed Olaf in the early game does. He's got the Death Stance completed and can just take control over the river.
It's so dangerous now to walk up into this Olaf, and when you look at Sentinels, all of their kills are spread out from that early trade, right? You saw that they were playing through multiple different lanes. You saw the bot lanes ending up roaming into mid lane, all of that jazz. But now, this does mean that Tarzan is going to have to be that vehicle to bring Cloud9 to a victory. With early Drakes, we'll have to see if they can continue to stack them. But already Sentinels are breaking the mold when it comes to the lane assignments. They can go for this, but Tarzan is nearby. She should spot him out on the Oracles. And maybe they try to go for this with the Jarvan coming in with the wave, but I think it's a dangerous proposition.
It is. I think the idea is just bait out Tarzan potentially. I mean, you at least poked down Zello, so this is a little bit better lane state now for MTS. Could even look for a solo kill if the lane gets pushed out anymore, but Tarzan will just continue to farm up, not deterred in that regard. So, I mean, early game still very even. We're about to hit 6 minutes, and neither team has taken a substantial lead. We're still even in the goal department.
See Emils?
Sheesh looking for more. No! Ooh, missed synergy there. Rest thought that Sheesh was going to commit to that play. Throws down the shockwave.
Oh, man. That's got to hurt. But, you know, I feel like this is a great game for us, Kangas, because, you know, we get to help break you in. We've got Michael Udall trying to find something onto Griff, but mobility. If they get this turret dive... Uh-oh. Does have flash, does have barrier.
Got a wave to play around, but now Tarzan is spotted here. Meals is here as well. Galio ultimate's available. Michael Udall, can you survive it? The burst flashes away. Galio won't use, and it's successful. Sentinels batter back the dive. Well done there from Michael Udall, and they even get the turret in trade because Sheesh drops the Herald top lane.
They immediately, I've loved this from Sentinels the past couple days. They've recognized their ability to make cross-map plays, and this time around, they come alive again. They notice that, hey, you've devoted 4 people. You try to overload one side of the map. Let's take this turret in top side. Let's get Jarvan a little bit more gold, get him so much more tanky. Whereas you already finished the Stone Plate and now has the Sunfire, so all of those resistances are going to make them that much more difficult to kill. And Jarvan now has free time to move into multiple different lanes and look for a gank, as Michael Udall staying under turret, trying to be as obnoxious as possible, not only with the Omnivamp boots, but with Blade of the Ruin King. It's very hard to keep this guy out of lane without bursting him.
And you can tell that C9 are frustrated about that. They want to make these plays onto the Sekshan, because going back to the point you had made earlier, the later this game goes, the better it's going to be for Sentinels. They have the Wombo combo. They have the team fighting composition. And when you look at how they just won their previous match, both games, or at least the first game, it was pretty even gold. They take Baron, they win the game. Second game, they were getting more advantages, but they take Baron, they win the game. This is a composition. They can definitely fight around that Baron pit, and I don't think Cloud9 want Sentinels to have a gold lead when they start approaching that point of the game.
This is a beautiful one for us too, because like Sam, he got his Thresh game that he could cast because he's a big advocate for that champion. I get an Akshan game here in the majors as well. This is just like serendipity for us. We do have a dragon coming up, but
yeah, next up,
I don't know.
They got to give me a Teemo game. Just give me one of my favorite champions.
Don't think that one's happening. Don't think that one's happening.
Hey, you saw my Teemo gameplay earlier today. You know it's no joke. So maybe these players were watching along. But right now, it looks like Sentinels have the push in the mid lane. Dragon has spawned. We could see a team fight around that one. Sentinels do have the gold lead for it. And again, that Wombo combo team fight, so it's so tough for Cloud9 to actually approach this.
They have not actualized the gold lead that is on Michael Udall, though. He hasn't gotten time to back, has not had time to reset, but Olaf has. So watched what Tarzan can do on this Olaf, and the entire time you need to also watch in the Baron lane. It is slowly pushing for Sentinels. The longer this takes, the more they're losing out, especially when we're looking at this ARAM here. They're not getting much, and the entire time Sentinels are going to continue building a small lead.
But right now, Cloud9 have actually wrestled control of the river. Tarzan is playing point. He's standing at the forefront, being that frontliner for Cloud9. He's the one with the gold lead on C9. But they got to deal with the poke. Now they jump in here. The team fight engaged. The Wombo combo Galio out onto everybody. Michael Udall's on the flank too. Watch the Akshan just rip through the back line while his front line stays alive. But Cloud9 are fighting back. They're doing pretty well. That's a double kill for Michael Udall. He's going to get a triple kill as well. Maybe cleans it up. Flashes for Tarzan. Zelo's the last one alive. Michael Udall with the quadra kill. Can't find that last one, but nobody will get the dragon.
Oh, this is why I love Akshan so much. So slippery, so dangerous to try and get him down. And you get to see the Tempo Gaming immediately utilizes the Going Rogue passive and is able to revive MTS. We get to see this once again. This is the part of the game that I really wanted to see whether or not Sentinels could get their act together, because their Jarvan yesterday did not look as clean, but finally they get the Galio, the Camille, and Jarvan combo. And they perfectly pincer Cloud9 here in the river. The perfect place for someone like Michael Udall on this Akshan to completely rip around this backline. Wow, I'm just tripping over my words. Kangas, save me, brother!
The team fight was so strange. The start of it, the engage from Sentinels, they just get blown up immediately. Like J4 and Camille did not survive that one very long. It was just long enough to lock people down so the Galio could join in. It was all about Michael Udall cleaning up afterwards. But yes, the fight has started now. Dragon's down to 2k health here. I think Cloud9 get this one. It's stolen! Sheesh gets the Dragon steal, but can they get out now? Hexa ultimatum used. Tarzan's in some trouble, taking a lot of damage. The shockwave from Rez, but Tarzan's life stealing through it will go down, and Michael Udall will get another one at the end of that. Sentinels want to keep the fight going. MTS going deeper in, jumping onto this backline. Meals flashing away, some trouble, goes down. A 3v1. Zelo's unstoppable, but I don't think he can survive through this. One more out from Michael Udall should have it, but Zelo's out. He survives, but still Sentinels win the team fight.
Look at how dangerous it is to try and fight up against someone like Akshan. Can be invisible for the beginning of the team fight, and you can't keep track of him. There's no control wards. And just the mobility of this champion. so dangerous. You would have thought, look at Cloud9, they're playing around Tarzane, but MTS on this Jarvan is doing a fantastic job of keeping certain members away, more specifically, keeping Griff out of team fights. Both of these players, the solo laners here for Sentinels, are just providing excellent crowd control in different ways.
The team fight tools for Sentinels are working for them in these fights, and the scary thing is, as Michael Udall gets more items, as Rest gets more items, it's only going to get harder for Cloud9 to actually deal with that. They want to make... If I'm looking at this team composition and the current state that they're in, I'm starting to think split map plays. Try and get these side lanes pushing. Try and get Zello in a lane where Tarzane can help him out here. But even then, they're not the best composition for doing that kind of play either.
Yep.
Oh no,
and
Sentinels
speaking of side lane, here we go.
Zello was trying to do it, but this is what happens when you don't have the backup. Sentinels just collapse on top of it. Cloud9 will try and make a cross-map play into the Baron lane. MTS and Sheesh trying to stay alive. MTS locked down, has to use a Cataclysm just to buy more time, and will still fall. Cloud9 will trade those picks inside lanes.
They need the top lane. They need to get this tier 1 in the Baron lane. But the entire time, they lost a kill into the bot side. They lose this mid turret as well. So Cloud9 finding Pyrrhic victories, having to give up a lot on the map against Sentinels, who, to be fair, that was a great pick for them that they're finally able to get that from MTS, but they have to invest so much to get it from them.
And again, the benefactor of the kill from the side of Sentinels, Michael Udall, this Ikshan, 7-2-1, about to just terrorize the Rift. Like, look at the gold lead Michael Udall has right now. That's close to 13k. Nobody else is crest 10.
This is what you gotta love about it. Also, you know, like, Akshan has a little bit of a gold passive, thanks to the second ability, the Going Rogue. Gives you 100 gold. We already saw the Quadra kill. We've now seen 7 of those, so an extra 700 gold is pretty nice. And thank you to Observers for showing this off. 3 items. Already has a Solari Charge Blade as well. I mean, this guy's making bank, and hopefully maybe crest over the 30k mark.
Now in the side lane, just getting more gold funneled into him too. I like this play from Sentinels. Get this player fed. Flash forward by Sheesh, trying to make the plan of Meals. Just collapse.
They're teleporting
onto the brand. Defensive play here from Cloud9. Zello has joined in, but they can't find the counter play. Cloud9 with no correct response, and Michael Udall kept pushing in that top wave, so that's hitting that turret too.
Another turret going down, and Kangas, C9 have to be sweating right now. Cloud9, they are in their tournament lives. Obviously, they've already qualified for the regional finals, regional championship, but it's all about seeding right now, and you want to be able to make it to the finals. You want to try and take that rematch up against Immortals. Both of these teams going down to them to the first seed here. And Griff,
some trouble here. Doesn't realize that there's multiple members around. Yeah, just has to commit the flash. Get out of there. And Michael Udall actually takes a lot of damage in response, so Tarzane could potentially chase this down as a Ragnarok and flash, but not going to commit for it. Dragon's up, though. This is a rough time for Michael Udall to take that chunk. Half health for this fight. Meals is back up. Meals is running in here. And Cloud9 will start up this Dragon. Hopefully it's not stolen this time. Sheesh is looking for it. Michael Udall's here. MTS just goes for the engage.
Inside.
Jan is trying to keep everybody alive. Everyone from Cloud9 stuck in the pit, trying to fight their way out into the river. Sentinels doing what they can. Rest has the shockwave in there right now, getting damaged. Dragon secured by the side of Cloud9, but can they win the fight afterwards? 2 for 2 to start things off. Tarzan doing a lot of damage. Great start for Cloud9.
Rest.
But can they get out now? MTS still here, blocking the retreat path. Gets onto Jockey. Meals will go down in the pit. Tarzan will trade one back onto the Jarvan, but will fall in response. A double kill over to Rest. Sentinels lose the Dragon, but win the team fight.
That was a sloppy fight for Sentinels, and a good punish here for Cloud9. I mean, the start of that is awesome. We get to see the Jarvan engage. They keep multiple members in different parts of the pit, but I think Sentinels going for way too much, reaching for every different plate on the table, and Cloud9, they do a fantastic job of punishing it. They get the Dragon, and while they don't go even in that fight, they kill Michael Udall and start to get a little bit more gold into their back pocket. So all in all, consider that a team fight victory there for Cloud9.
It's great to have the Dragon stacking on their side. We're closer to that Elder Dragon now, and that could be a big win condition for them. But yeah, just showing that they don't get absolutely blown up in these team fights. There might still be some some warm-up games in the side of Sentinels here to pull off their combos correctly and actually blow up members. But speaking of, they actually catch out Jockey. Great start. There's no support now for this potential Baron fight.
Jack is just dead, and that's huge. This just means that now Sentinels, they can start this up. They do not need to commit to it. I wonder what Cloud9's response is going to be. They're going to enter the river now and look for this
they're
fight.
They're engage on right now. They know they don't want to give over those Barons. Sentinel can close out games with this, but they get it regardless. Beginning's buying so much time for Sentinel, so now they can go for the team fight afterwards. Zello trying to frontline. Shockwave will whiff, but Michael Udall jumps onto Tarzan, takes him down. Meals will follow. Griff under turret engaged on and dies as well. That is the ace for Sentinels immediately after Baron buff. This is 3 games in a row that Sentinels have showed us how quickly they can end games.
Oh my god, and I can't believe it, Kangas. It's only game 1, and this is a best of 3, so Cloud9, they can end up making it through. But that's just going to be Cloud9 getting wiped off the map. Sentinels with a fantastic start on blue buff, the blue side buff. Blue side is, you know, traditionally speaking, the higher win rate side for most of competitive history. There have been a few patches where that's flipped, but Cloud9,
I know at least for League PC.
Pick.
We'll have to test that for Wild Rift. There's a chance that that's actually different.
That's a lot of data. That's a lot of data to parse.
True, but Cloud9, the difference in, of course, Wild Rift is just the side selection, not all about the camera angle and all that. So Lulu is still the ban from Cloud9. That was their first ban in game 1. If I'm expecting adaptations, it would be Orianna and Galio as the top 2 choices that they might throw into that mix.
They have first pick, guys. I don't know why we want to ban Lulu. We can get Olaf to start and then respond to whatever, like even just blind drafting. If I like put my hand over where the Sentinels draft is on my screen, I can just be like, those first 2 picks do not matter. I'm picking Olaf, Lulu on blue side. That's okay. That's okay. We take those.
Well, unless Sentinels grab like Lulu red 1 or red 2, in which case you can only get one of those 2 on the blue side here. But Varus, standard ban from Sentinels. I was looking at the stats of that champion. It's something ridiculous, like 80% win rate over 20 games played in all the majors so far. So I don't think we're going to see any Varus gameplay. I think that's just like a must ban on the red side here. Ashe is still banned out from Cloud9, so no adaptations in the bans yet.
Okay, and I think this is interesting now for Cloud9. We're at that inflection point, whether or not the bans are going to stay the same, or if we're going to see some kind of change up. Now, if Orianna is the one on the table that's being gotten rid of, we need to start thinking of Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is typically the worst kind of matchup you want to play against if you are an Orianna, just because it's not that bad in lane, but come team fights, and when we're talking about both of these teams wanting to have such potent team fighting ability, that Orianna is going to do a lot of work versus someone like Twisted Fate. So need to be careful, and we're there, Kangas. I'm a little bit scared. This feels like a cliff almost. We're like, are they going to do it? Are they going to commit to the bit, or are they just going to shake it up?
Part of me says Galio, but a bigger part of me says Orianna. I think Orianna is the ban here. If you're going to choose one of them to adapt to, it's a flex pick for Sentinels, so that's the big reason why I'd want to take that off the table.
Nope.
But they're not going to. Same 3 bans from Cloud9. They feel like it was not the pick ban phase that was the issue, or at least not the bans. It was mostly just the execution and potentially what they picked for themselves against what Sentinels had. So let's see if Sentinels change anything. Last time it was Anami as their 3rd ban. I wouldn't be too surprised if it's the same there. Unless maybe they just don't want to deal with that Janna, because that was really the only disengaged tool that Cloud9 drafted last game.
All right, Kangas, here we go. We can have a little fun game. Everybody at home can also follow along.
Okay,
Do we get the same draft? Is this a salty run back? Never mind. It's not a salty run back. Nami's going to stay on the table, and Kaisa taken away from Griff.
Close. We almost had the potential.
Close.
But interesting adaptation from Sentinels, given respect to Griff, who was, you know, finding some pretty cool plays in that last game. So they don't want Rest and Beginnings to have that difficult of a laning phase this time around. But Cloud9, still confident with the Olaf first pick for Tarzan. It could still be a run back outside of the Kaisa, depending on what other AD carry they'd want to slot in there.
We can get basically, what, like a 15 out of 16 in terms of champion picks, because I mean we've got the bans that are basically the same. Sentinels going to basically follow up with the same 1-2, which is just Orianna and Camille.
Why not?
Last time around, I mean, yeah, last time around they picked their mid laner since they already knew where or they had an idea as to where Orianna was going to go, and they picked their bot laner here. So I wonder if we see the same thing from Cloud9. Wonder if they just pick that, or if they go for a bot duo here.
It's tough for Cloud9 because, I mean, you were saying before how Sentinels, you would expect maybe the Camille to go into the Baron lane. It's not just a jungler anymore, but it is still flex. They flex that into the jungle. So they have double flex picks for Sentinels. Makes Cloud9's job very difficult. They go with the Gragas and the Lucian. Interesting combo right there. So Sentinels run it back with that Galio, and they get the brand for themselves this time.
Yeah, and this is a good answer here from Cloud9, I think. Forcing the Lucian means that now Sentinels need to be worried. Is that Lucian going into mid lane? Do I really want to play that as against that Orianna? I'm just going to say no. They say Sentinels, we get the brand. We get to have Michael Udall on this kind of mage. And Cloud9, they get to finally flex their muscles. And we talked about Meals and Michael Udall usually have a very similar champion pool, but it's always the one card up Meals' sleeve, pulling out the Aurelion Soul here.
I like it, and that will be the Lucian Nami combo in the Dragon lane. Very strong synergies between those two. The Sentinels, again, could have a rough Dragon lane experience here, and they're not opting for the J4. I was wondering if they'd put the J4 in the comp just so they have the same combo of, Galio, Camille, J4, Orianna, but not going to opt for it. Instead, they get the Renekton, so they want something that can push a little more of a lead in that Baron lane.
MTS has been fantastic. I know we saw it a little bit earlier with the Fiora, but you have to think of things like the Riven that he also played up against Immortals in the last major. And throughout it all, through thick and thin, MTS has been a really, really flexible player that I've always been impressed with, but we haven't necessarily seen the success follow for Sentinel. So going to be an important matchup here for them as, I mean, we're talking about players, right? Might have to hold that as Griff and Jackie going to be pushing Beggs out of bot lane pretty early on with a nice health chunk.
Not surprising. I mean, this is how you play the Lucian Nami lane. You do not play this to farm. You play this to just put pressure on your opponents.
Hit them.
And you can do that as early as level 1 here. So already, I think we're getting a good game plan of what Griff and Jockey will be providing for this game number 2. Cloud9 down in the series. A loss here means that they will settle for 3rd place in the 3rd majors. Not the worst, as they still have qualified for regionals. But if they win 2 more in a row, they can go for that finals, get a little better seeding and a little bit of prize pool on the day. But Sentinels 1 win away here. As we're in the early game, same question from last time, Alec. If we're looking at these team compositions, who are we favoring a little bit more early on and expect to have more control in the first couple minutes?
Well, it has to be, again, Cloud9. Their early game is pretty good. Sheesh. I think Michael Udall actually did a fantastic job in this early lane, just, I mean, hammering away at Meals' HP and forcing double honey fruits from both of the mid laners. But you look across their lanes, the Baron lane, it's Gragas. Gragas is one of the most valuable tanks that you can have in the Baron lane here in North America. And when you look across, I mean, Aurelion Soul can get early push. I say that, sheesh. Just
a lot of damage
constantly.
Ooh, Michael Udall, if he hits a single ability on Meals, might just get the kill, but isn't going to commit for it. And Tarzan, again, same thing as last game. Junglers hop by the mid lane just until the scuttles spawn. This time around, man, just a flash 3rd ability from Brand, I swear. That would have been enough to kill Meals.
Do it.
He's got barrier. Maybe, Michael Udall's giving respect. He's like, he's probably got fast enough fingers. But we'll spot out. Tarzan is on this invade. Beginnings is coming up. Rest as well. Jockey and Griff are hovering nearby, but flash over the wall. Tarzan in trouble, stunned up. The burn, the first blood picked up by Rest. Now Sheesh is joined in, flashing forward out to Jockey. One more auto will get that kill. 2 early game to Sentinels.
Okay, well, now Sentinels, the early game we've been talking about here for Cloud9, ends up going completely awry. Tarzan getting punished for their aggressive invading tendencies. And, I mean, Kangas, if you're a Cloud9 fan, you're worried right now because that early game just went to pot instantly off of that.
And it was the exact same play we saw in game number 1, so good on Sentinels to read that and say, wait a minute, we remember what you did last time. So in game 1, Sheesh opted to counter jungle and just accept the handshake, but this time around, Meals can get there a little faster, or rather, Michael Udall can get there a little bit faster and help out in the counter invade there. So I like it. I like it from Sentinels. They find themselves with a 1,000 gold lead at the 3-minute mark here, as the first objectives will be spawning in a minute, and they have been able to back and spend that gold. Although, as I say, that Rest hasn't yet, but should be able to before the dragon spawns.
Cloud9, I think, find themselves in a really interesting predicament now with this draft that they have for them. With the Aurelion Soul, you need to be able to get push, and you can roam over to other lanes, similar to something like a Twisted Fate and a Galio. but you don't have a Baron lane that you really want to play for. I mean, it's Gragas, so it's more for a defensive play if you want. And Olaf should have been your vehicle to early on, you know, if he wants to invade, Aurelion Sol can be there. Because of what we've seen from mid lane, time and time again, they're bullying out Meals because of that early trade and not being able to respond. Now, the Aurelion Sol doesn't really have a lane to play for and will kind of scale a little bit, but I mean, against Camille, against Renekton, that is a very hard matchup for Aurelion Sol to really kind of stay still and want to play against.
And going for a reset now, might not even be up in time to contest one of these. Although Sheesh does actually stop the back there with the sweeping leg, so... Rift Herald is what Sheesh could look for here. Walks right towards it as Tarzan going for the same play as game one, right onto the dragon. Could be a handshake yet again, but Michael Udall is nearby. Yeah. The brand damage rests here from the bottom lane. Double taunt coming in from beginnings. A lot of damage onto Jockey. In some trouble here as Nami, barely alive, does go down. MTS teleported in. That's two more kills over to Sentinels.
And the entire time, Sheesh is just doing the Rift Herald. I don't know if they'll be able to solo out Zello here, just because how tanky they are.
No barrier, no ults. Zello, okay, yeah. Too tanky, does get away.
It's Gragas. Come on, guys. Like, oh my god, Griff.
Ooh, Griff flashes in response. Beginning taking a lot of damage. Will go down. Shockwave used. Rest about to die.
Griff.
Ignite. Nope. Red buff burning down. Griff will fall to Michael Udall. All right, 1-for-1 trade. Got a little sloppy, but Sentinels do find it.
I'll take that any day of the week. Cloud9 are finding fantastic bot laners, and Griff outplays a 1v3 situation. Fancy feet and fancy hands there coming out from the bot laner here. New addition and looking good at it.
Paladin the Lucian, fancy feet, quick flashes to stop that flash taunt engage from beginnings. But again, the aggression is coming in from Sentinels. We are talking about who should be active in the early game, who needs to get these early game leads and control it. Well, 2 games in a row now, you've said Cloud9, and 2 games in a row, Sentinels have the early lead. So what do Cloud9 need to be thinking about at this state in the game? They got to be sweating, figuring out what their next play is.
You need to go ahead, ask for somehow get a pause into the game, or very quickly go get your nice finger paints. You got to get the black finger paint and put it across your eyes, right under the eyelids. Mark them with your thumbs. You got to do guerrilla tactics. Cloud9, you got to get fancy with it. You got to come in from multiple different angles, because front to back team fights against Sentinels composition, even without the early deficit, are already hard enough. You have Orianna to control chokes, and Sheesh with Begs can basically mean that if you want to enter one side of the map, you're not going to be allowed to with the Hexic Ultimatum. So you need to be very careful now, and I mean, they're just constantly hammering away at this.
Yeah, they're just getting engaged upon again. Jockey does flash, survives barely. That last auto attack healed through the Tidecaller's Blessing, but still is chunked out. Has to back all the way to tier 2 turret just to survive. Junglers and mid laners are down here too. Beginnings might be too far forward, taking the full culling. A lot of damage, and Tarzan will get the kill. Ragnaroking forward, getting very aggressive, taking a huge chunk of damage. And Sheesh will get the kill. Massive burst. Stun lands from Michael Udall. Griff gets hit by that. Mobile champion, but still, skill shots are landing. He's still alive. Griff, he's just dancing around Sheesh right now. Gotta be careful. Jockey's nearby, though, and with Meals here for backup, I think he is safe. Sentinels will back off.
Ooh, that's a very dangerous one where you're just waiting for cooldowns in your head. I'm sure Griff is counting down the seconds before hookshot comes down. And Sheesh just barely isn't able to find that kill. But again, a good trade there. And a little bit of kills, some responses from Cloud9, able to get some kills. And specifically, I think Griff is playing incredibly well with the deficit that they find themselves in. So important to watch what the bot laner here for Cloud9. Can they dig themselves out of the hole that they found themselves 8 minutes into the game?
Trying to find these picks on overextended members, and getting a 2v2 kill would be a fantastic as well. Rest flashes away. Beginnings trying to frontline now, but Griff does the damage, getting through that. Oh, if Colin was available, that might have just been a double kill right there for Griff. Can't find it, though. Even with Tarzan and Meals hovering on the bottom side, no kills picked up by Cloud9.
That'll just be a first turret, and, I mean, we have 30 seconds here before the Drake spawns. This Rift Herald is going to be spawned in the mid lane. They want to get gold now. But with so many turrets here falling for Cloud9, it's going to be important for them if they can try to punish off of the gold that they get, because they're not going to have time to reset before getting into this Dragon Pit.
Oh, and they defend the mid turret too, so that gold not going over to Sentinels just yet. They do get the push into that Baron lane. MTS picks that one up and look to back now. As Reset running straight towards this dragon. It spawned. We might just get a 5v5. You were talking about the importance of the front to back from Sentinels. Sheesh, nicely done there, getting that turret. But now it looks like Cloud9 are opting into that.
They want to fight. They need to fight for mid priority right here because the top lane is pushing. Cloud9, they can even bounce this if they don't really want to kind of fight this. They can try to go for bot lane and try to put pressure on that tier 2. But see right now, Cloud9, because they lost that mid turret, they're kind of just corralled into their quadrant of the jungle. They can't get in. Tarzan's just going to use that time to farm up just for a small time being and wait to go over the wall here.
Repositioning.
Really important. This is going to break the game for them if Sentinels do lose this team fight.
Cloud9 have gotten back onto Dragon. Sentinels gave up priority to push mid lane, and now Tarzan just runs straight onto Rest. Explosive cast knocks them apart. Sentinels, they're trying to re-engage the fight. Beginning's doing a good job of kiting for the carries, but not enough. Griff is tearing through Sentinels, and Cloud9 win a crucial team fight right as the Dragon is up, and they should secure this objective.
It looked good for them at the start, but some things just didn't end up popping off, and Cloud9 find a victory from the jaws of defeat almost, get themselves a dragon, find themselves 2 kills. I kind of want to see if we can get the replay of that because it is such an important fight there for Sentinels to be able to use.
And the dragon stacking continues for Cloud9 now. That's 2 in their pocket. Take a look at the replay here to see, because yeah, they're grouped up, they're ready for this, and then Tarzan just says, we're going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, this Gragas cast from Zello is huge because now Rest is out of the fight. We see that the Mist Sombrero ultimate comes out, and without the rest of the team to back up MTS, he just gets torn to shreds by Lucian and by Meals, who perfect positioning this time, not being threatened by any of the members of Sentinels, means that Cloud9 bring themselves back into this game. They've got 2 Drakes, a Mountain Drake. That shielding is going to be important, especially when you're this far behind early on. I mean, they're making correct plays while they are down in turrets. Sentinels are still not able to find, that crushing team fight victory we were expecting.
They're 2,000 gold ahead, but when you look at the items purchased, it doesn't really feel like it's amounted to anything. There's not like a big carry that's Omega fed and, a full item up over their opponent. So in these just stat check team fights, it's not like Cloud9 are completely out of it, but Jockey completely caught out in the Baron lane. Griff had gone down into the river, but Tarzan running forward. Massive damage from Meals and Tarzan. They can't get a kill. They finally get one. Mike Ludal's down. Nice taunt from Beginnings. Trying to lock down the Cloud9 so the team can do the damage, but I don't think they've done enough because Griff is still here. Full health bar on the Lucian to threaten away Sentinels. Just a 1-for-2 trade. Sentinels do actually come on top of that.
They get a lot of gold there, and this is what we were talking about, Jackie's inexperience and some aggressive tendencies being punished. Why is Jackie there, right? We're talking about you're playing Nam, you're playing Janet, you cannot be in these positions, and it's happened time and time again for Cloud9 where Jackie is not necessarily in the correct position, and the enemy team is able to capitalize on it and punish. So some of the misgivings of a new player to the role, something that we saw from Sentinels earlier on in the majors, where Rest had very aggressive positioning for a marksman and ended up constantly going down, ended up losing them a couple of series. So that inexperience is starting to show. Sentinels do find a little bit of a victory, but is still incredibly close. And I mean, Tarzan is trying, even without as much of a lead as last time, he's going for these fights.
Jockey throws down the ult to try and start the fight. Meals following up. Cloud9 just commit everything to Sentinels, who are a little caught out of position right there. They get 1 pick, and now they're continuing the fight. MTS doing a lot of damage as this Renekton still bursted down. Griff is absolutely insane in these team fights, doing massive damage, and Sentinels just cannot hang with this Lucian.
The Lucian is so good. Griff is so sick, actually. He's doing a fantastic job. And I think Jackie
caught again. Hex ultimatum onto Griff. Sheesh doing the damage, but Griff just runs past Sheesh, says, I see Rest, but cannot get the kill. Meals is here to follow up. Zello as well. Sheesh might be able to turn this around. Gets hit by the stun. Double kill to Sheesh. Zello in trouble. The rampaging Camille. Oh, the Hex Tech. Okay, no, it wasn't blocked.
He's got
I thought the hook shot was blocked, but he gets the triple kill. Nicely done from Sheesh right there, closing out the fight. And once you know it, almost an ace. Tarzan is back up, but Sentinels, they could look at this Baron.
This is a terrible timer and a great one found by Sentinels. Getting those kills is so important. Now, you see already from the multiple members of Cloud9, they're picking up teleports. 5 seconds before Meals is here, and we're seeing the teleports starting to channel.
Tarzan just has to run at Sheesh, actually just run at everybody, doing a lot of damage right here. Beginning's trying to front line. The calling comes out from Griff, who picks up a kill, and Sentinels, they're pushed off of the Baron.
Yeah, the teleports come in and they stop them. Too many blinking health bars. The Dragon's coming up as well. They need to reset and redeploy onto the map incredibly quickly. Sentinels could lose out on this Dragon. Will have 2 or 3 to their name for Cloud9. Important when we're looking at Dragon stacking. Elder Drake is going to come up afterwards. This should be their fight. You already see Sentinels. They're not ready to come for this fight.
And with the 3rd Dragon picked up, that 2,000 gold lead doesn't actually mean that much because the stats of the individual dragons will probably make this just a dead even game here between Cloud9 and Sentinels. They're on that Dragon Soul point. They just one more dragon. They get that Elder. Would be fantastic here. And Baron is still on the table for Sentinels. You see that they're trying to control the choke points around here, see if they can get another pick, because that's how Sentinels has been closing out all their games today. They'll literally get a Baron, end the game within 2 minutes of that Baron being taken. That's why I was worried for Cloud9 there, but good on them to fight back and just keep themselves in this game. We might just have a series in our hands.
This is incredibly close. Cloud9 trying to find a victory here off of the back of the newest addition to the team. Griff on this solution, a little bit more mobile than someone like Kaisun, is able to just push out damage as much as they are. So I'm loving this, but this is all now waiting for Sentinels. Can they make another pick? If they can find the kill onto either Griff or onto Meals, this is a scary proposition for them. Like you were saying, the gold lead is not necessarily out of control. And with the Infernal Drake and the Mountain Drake, tapped on with that 3rd dragon, this is a very hard fight for them coming up.
Cloud9 are giving up control of the river on the top side for now. They're not interested in just walking into that. I think they've had a conversation. All right, Jockey, stop getting picked off. Everyone group up. We're going to stay together.
Yes.
Let the Gragas walk forward. Just win. It's easy, everybody. But you can see that their game plan right now is group up. They're just letting MTS push in this Dragon lane. This is 2 turrets taken by the Crocodile. Because Cloud9 are like, no, we are not going to get caught out again. We are staying grouped up. We're just going to force our way into this river now. Now they can drop down their wards, try and clear out whatever Sentinels have dropped down. But as I say that, they're not actually doing that. They're just going to start the Baron. No, they see Beginnings. Beginnings walks too far forward. He is tanky, though. He's surviving quite a while. Big explosive cast, though. Sheesh onto the back line. Griff in trouble. Watch for this Lucian. Goes into the Guardian Angel, but no, he's just dead. That's just a pickup for Sentinels. I think that's enough to win the fight. MTS now running through the rest. And there's no more damage on Cloud9. Meals out of mana. Massive team fight win by Sentinels.
That was basically the worst possible scenario over there for Cloud9 because they already lost out on mid priority. They lost out on bot priority. So they're losing everything around the map.
Meals
and Rest and Meals. Oh, does he steal it?
He can't do it. He can't do it. He was trying.
Oh, you know, Cloud9 and Redemption stealing Baron, it's not new to them. It's happened. It happened in the first major, and you can't ever count it out. It could happen again. But oh my god, it was a perfect setup for Sentinels where damned if they do, the devil's bargain there for Cloud9. Do they get the Baron and lose the rest of their map for it? Or do they just try to fight there and they end up losing even more for it? The Baron for Sentinels and getting ready for them to close out the game with a 6,000 gold lead.
And Cloud9 had done such a good job navigating those team fights up until that one. It was Griff getting just hard focused by both MTS and Sheesh. They just said, okay, forget about anyone else. It's just the Lucian. He has been the thorn in our side in all these fights. So now that Sentinels have this kind of focus, I think Cloud9, they might be shook here thinking, okay, what do we do in the next fight? Griff is not just free to, fire the entire time. Find Sheesh, I guess, is the play here. Exile ultimatum used onto Griff. Goes into the stasis. Both do. Buys a lot of time, but Sheesh hit into the Guardian Angel as well. Griff almost full health here. He's just life-stealing through all this. Has an Ami behind him now. Sheesh jumps away, but can he actually escape right now? And they also lose Beginning, so Sentinels, they already lose their support. They're about to lose their jungler. Griff in the 1v1 might just lose this. Sheesh wins the 1v1 against Griff.
Oh my god, Sheesh, the young 16-year-old jungler, just completely pops off there. And I mean, able to find that kill on minimal HP bars. We're still in game 2, Kangas. This feels like we've played 2 separate games, and with the inhibitor topside going down, the Nexus is being hit for Sentinels. They're going to be able to get this Elder Drake by themselves, and I think Cloud9, they recognize they're in a dangerous spot. If they get up the Elder, they're going to lose. If they don't answer for this top lane, they're going to lose either way. This is the game-breaking team fight. Sentinels could be going to Grand Finals.
Well, watch MTS just pushing for the game end. Like, he was in the Baron lane with Baron-empowered minions, so Meals has to be here, has teleport, so Meals can join this fight. Dragon started up by Sentinels. Elder Dragon buff would basically be a game ender for them, but now they just go for the engage, right onto Jockey. Sheesh over the wall. Tarzan doing his best to get damage returned onto Sheesh, but can't find it. Tarzan goes into the stasis. MTS is there. Everyone's dogpiling onto this Camille. They finally get her, but the rest of Sentinels have joined the fight, and Cloud9 are getting shredded. Sentinels win another massive team fight. Griff's the only member left alive from Cloud9, and I don't think he's going to be enough to stop this dragon. Sentinels are going for the end.
They can go for the end right here. Look at how powerful a lot of these members are. And if for any reason Griff is somehow able to make an incredible defense through the top lane, Sheesh will just buy teleport and they will make this play.
Oh no!
The culling goes
the
wide.
culling has to flash. Oh no! Griff in the critical moment can't clear out the wave. Super's on the Nexus. Revenge for Sentinels. They're going to the Major 3 finals.
And they make it